Good. Thank you for confirming that. Good. So right now, I actually calling to order is something that usually the chair does. And effectively, I'm just doing that because I'm the person who happened to set up the Zoom meeting at the moment, but I'm not really, nor do we have a chair. So what I have up at the top, and this is just something I put in the agenda ahead of time, and that is also something a chair normally does, but at the moment, I am not really the chair. That the chair, whomever that will be, will call an emergency meeting between the 25th and 28th if 4th District City Council Representative Spivey appoints an additional member or members to fill vacancies for the purpose of a revote on each motion affirmed at this meeting. Now that sets up a uncertainty in things, which is awkward. Since posting this and talking separately with Washington Houston, the other member who is not present, and Gregory Creswell, who is present, we've come to a mutual decision that that's going to be Wednesday, and I was bringing that up earlier. So Wednesday at 7 was what we came up with in our discussions. Now, call to order just creates a beginning to the meeting, even though, like, again, nobody has an office yet other than Community Advisory Council member for District 4. That's what the three of us are right now. Okay, so we're going to start out with introductions, 10 minutes per elected member or less. It doesn't have to be that long. I just decided that in case either, anyone present, any of the members present, myself or Mr. Creswell at this point, want to say a lot, we can. I'll actually limit myself to 5 after Mr. Creswell speaks, just because I've already been talking so much. Gregory, opening statements, introductions, anything you want?
Well, I have nothing much to say other than I'm glad to be invited, and I'm glad that I was elected to the CAC in District 4. And I'm looking forward to a good start and a positive image by the CAC District 4 members. So that's it for the most part. And I can't. I really can't wait until we do elect a chair and a vice chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. So moving forward, I'm hoping everything turns out and will turn out to be a positive move. So
Thank
that's it.
you. Just to let you know, I'm having a little trouble hearing you, so it probably wouldn't hurt to speak a little louder.
Okay, gotcha.
That's
all right.
clear.
All right. I'll move closer also.
Whatever works.
Okay. So that's it.
Okay. And now I will start out my little introduction, and I'm going to keep it fairly brief. You can read a lot about this organization, the Community Advisory Council for District 4, at the website d4cac.org, which probably most people here have already seen, just by the fact that you have had that you're here. I actually petitioned 2 summers ago to create the Community Advisory Council. Almost completely on my, in fact, yes, completely on my own as the circulator. We had a few different people certify those petitions, and there's a 1,570, I believe, was the number of validated signatures when that was done. That was back in October of 2019. Let's say, actually, it was it was a summer before last. Last summer, I embarked on an effort to make more people aware of the Community Advisory Council well before actually campaigning to be on it. Now I'm on it. And how should I say? And so at this point now, I've been actually kind of walked the thing through the process. It was not, you can see if you look at the blog that's on that website. It was not a simple process. When I handed in those petitions, the charter says the Community Advisory Council is thereby created. Well, there's a lot more than one after that, and I do not need to. It would take. Anyway, I'm here now, and I already said the initial statement. Or the deal is, I'll be more specific. Well, yeah, I'll wait another minute before we get there. I'm gonna actually close out my other. Well, I should say a little more. I've been on the Morningside board along with Zelda Anderson, who's present here. I have also been on MEC patrol and I am on MEC patrol, but we've been sort of deactivated during the whole COVID thing. Member of the 5th District Police Community Relations Council. But I've at the moment, this is where I'm gonna start focusing more. So I'm gonna close my personal comments for now because we've got plenty to do, just as necessity. And the first item that comes up, and again, I need to be clear here, everything we vote on today is going to have to be recertified at or at the on Wednesday, and hopefully at least not only three of us, hopefully we can have. And here's the thing: the city council passed an ordinance saying a quorum is 4 people. We had 3 elected. The charter, where it mentions quorum anywhere in the charter, it simply says a majority of members. A majority of members of a complete community advisory council, once everyone is seated, becomes 4. But it isn't that right now. Right now, a majority is 2. So technically, this is a quorum, but in order to avoid disputes on whether we want to take the charter or the city code more seriously, I'd rather have us reach a consensus with a minimum of 4 people present, hopefully 5 on Wednesday. And if that happens, then there won't be any arguments going forward. But right now, I'm just moving ahead because we need to get some, there's certain jobs we need to get done. So starting out now, in order to chair a meeting, we need to have a chair. I've been sort of stepping into that role at the moment, but I am not the chair. There is none. So is there a nomination for the office? And this only applies to members, board members. I can only vote. So is there a nomination for the office of chair?
Well, yes, Gregory speaking, and I'm going to nominate Scotty Boman for chair as of right now.
Okay, I will second that motion, and I think that is also a de facto acceptance. It's an awkward thing when it's 2 people, but yes, we have enough for a second.
Excuse me, Scotty, but Scotty, I'm aware that officially we'll have to wait until next Wednesday, January 27th, but this is just a prelude. I admit that.
I'm sorry, Gregory, could you please speak?
Can you hear me? Okay, this is more of a preliminary stepping stone, I know. So for now,
Yes.
We'll wait until the 27th, I know. Okay, thanks.
Yes, so thank you. And so now I do accept that. And so now we got to go to a vote. And by the executive order, all virtual meetings have to be by roll call vote. And so I will just go ahead and vote for myself. That's 1. Gregory?
And my vote's for you too, Scotty. Can you hear me?
Thank you. So
Okay.
it is unanimous. Well, except this is going to be revoted on.
Yes,
Loretta,
it will.
were you saying something?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. I thought I saw someone else speaking. Okay. So now we're moving on to approval of agenda. as chair, I now will move us along to approval of agenda. Someone was moving around and it was a little awkward. You might want to mute that. Pat, do you intentionally have your hand raised? Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, anybody is, if you're muted and you need to unmute yourself at some point, you use *6, and if you need to remute yourself, it's also *6. When raising hands is done by pushing *9. Lowering hands is done by pushing *9. This is if you are interacting by phone instead of a Zoom link on a computer, or I guess on a smartphone, you could be using the Zoom link as well. So if you're doing it by calling in rather than Zooming in, then that's how you do it. Otherwise, there's little characters on the screen that people use. So just making that clear. Because it's such a small group, that's why I'm being responsive. Otherwise, normally if you have a public meeting, you keep it among the members until you get to the end and then open up comments, or have comments at the beginning. For instance, like the city council often open with public comments. Okay, so approval of the agenda. In other words, Gregory, if there's anything you feel we need to add to this agenda or remove from the agenda, you can tell me.
Everything's okay as far as I'm concerned. Everything is fine and dandy. But,
Okay.
but I cannot wait though for the senior rep and the youth rep to be nominated or selected by the proper person.
I look forward to that too, and to having a complete board, a complete, council, community advisory council. Okay, so thank you, and that brings us to the next part: acknowledgement of other attending elected officials. And are there any? You just unmute yourself and speak up if any of you other people attending are elected to any position. I wish to mention that. Introduce yourself. Okay. I'm just opening up. I know like we have a representative Yancey, but it's Tanisha Yancey. So just let me think here. Okay. So Cynthia, you're a precinct delegate, aren't you?
I was, but I left the district for a few months and came back. So when I left, I'm no longer precinct delegate.
Okay. So I'd ask.
Hello?
Yes, Donna.
Hi, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been having problems. Yeah, I'd just like to introduce myself. Hello, greetings to everyone. My name is Donna McDuffie, and I'm a precinct delegate, and I reside in District 4.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Donna.
Okay, and I'm about to switch over to another device, and hopefully I'll have audio and video and all of that.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right.
Okay. And Pat, do you intend to have your hand raised? Your hand is raised, just so you know.
No, I don't.
Okay. I could probably, can I lower your hand for you? Here, it's best to just push *9 on your phone. It's still up. There is a way I can make it happen, but I was just wanting you to get accustomed to doing that on your phone. Actually, just a little star button in the 9, and that should make it go down. Yep, you did it. Success. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wait, did she go? Oh no, I think I lost her. She'll hopefully. I didn't mean to tell her to hang up. We'll have to wait and see if she comes back. Let me just look at something here. Looking at the participant thing. I can't do it while I'm screen sharing. So I'm going to move along. Okay, I'm sorry. So now we're on to election of officers. Now there's actually 3 more offices that are specified in the charter. And those 3 offices are, it says my internet connection's unstable. Hopefully you can hear me. I'll repeat it, in fact. Those 3 offices are vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Now, the only thing really exceptional about the role of vice chair is the vice chair would step in the event of an absence created by the loss of the chair. So unless, now that I can say now that I have been nominated, so unless, for instance, if between now and January 1st, 2022, I, for whatever reason, leave this office, then that person would step in. I'm not intending to do that, but it could happen. Or there actually could be another person pulled in at the Wednesday meeting because these votes aren't final yet. So I think the main role then will be, for now, because it's more functional, to elect a secretary who at minimum will take minutes at the meetings, and a treasurer who will do financial work. I'd like to nominate Gregory Creswell for secretary.
I accept.
Okay. And also, do you second that?
I sure do.
Thank you. Okay. I will vote in favor. So now we go to a vote. I vote in favor of Gregory Creswell for secretary. Gregory, do you wish to vote?
Yes.
Okay, so that is 2 votes for the office of secretary. And so at this point, make sure you're taking some minutes. And the next thing the other thing is the secretary is next in succession if there is no vice chair available. So in a sense, the role of vice chair is also filled interim, really until we get a full council. Next is election of treasurer. I asked Washington, remember earlier I said I asked him a couple questions and got answers when he told me he couldn't attend. And one of those questions was, if you get nominated for treasurer, will you accept? And he said yes. And he is a businessman. He owns 7 to 7 cleaners on Kelly and Harper Woods. So I believe he will be a good treasurer. So on that basis, I would like to nominate Washington Houston for treasurer. And again, he has pre-accepted that. Gregory?
Mr. Washington gets my vote also.
Okay, so that's a second.
Second.
Thank you. And then we'll go to a vote. Gregory, do you favor electing Washington Houston for treasurer?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and I vote that way also. So that's our unanimous vote of 2 for now on treasurer. So that brings us to nomination of senior issues and youth members. Now, I have one, and here's how this works, just to be clear about the charter. This is the item that we must fulfill this month. Hopefully we will have plenty of meetings in the year ahead. The charter only requires we have 4. I did not create this council or petition, sorry, over 1,000 people created the council because their signatures were required. I did not petition to create this council, nor run for it with the intention of only having 4 meetings. I think that would be horribly ineffective for the many issues that we need to address. So on that basis, you can count on more meetings, as long as I have any word on that matter. But this month, we must have made a choice on these offices. Now, I already have, the first one up is Senior Issues Representative, and I already have a agreement. I asked one person who I'm about to nominate if he would take that position, and he agreed he would. And so I'm nominating Lamar Lemons for Senior Issues Representative. Do I hear a second?
Are we allowed to
I second that.
nominate?
A pardon, Donna?
I was just wondering, I thought that this maybe was the part where we were taking names and such. Are other people allowed to put their name in the race? Or we kind of beyond that?
Well, I had been, yeah, we're at that point now, and
Okay.
but thank you for bringing that up. Because had you ever sent me anything expressing an interest in that?
No, but I'm kind of, what can I say? No, because I don't know what kind of happened with the emails or such. I kind of thought, I
Okay,
guess the CAS has kind of fallen off the radar for District 4. So I was kind of happy to hear that, it was back up and running and such. And I kind of thought this would be the time where we could, put in our nominations for senior issues or youth members, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will be setting up committees, and perhaps you'd like to get involved in a committee?
No, this is not really for myself as such, but I'll
Okay.
see. Yeah, I'll see.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Okay, we have, Gregory, do I have a second?
I second it.
Yeah,
Okay,
seems like it's kind of.
all right, so we have, a second. I'll be voting in favor then of Lamar Lemons as a senior issue representative. And Gregory?
My vote is for Mr. Lemons.
Okay, so we have made that selection. And that will be that office. Now, we still have an issue came up here. I have been actively, because I didn't have anyone step forward or anything. And of course, the youth member, let me be clear what a youth member is and what makes this different. This is the only office in the city of Detroit that actually participates in voting within a government body in Detroit where the person is not a legal adult. And the person, in fact, is required not to be a legal adult. It is an open position for a person who is at a minimum 13 years of age and at maximum 17 years of age. I think ideally we'd like that person to be 17 years of age through this year, in fact. So let's say recently. In other words, not someone who's about to turn 18 in a day or two. We have not had anyone, and when I say anyone stepping forward, I don't just mean a youth person contacting us, but no parent or educator yet contacting us and recommending a youth person for this role. And obviously, by the way, there needs to be some guardian agreement on this because the person is not legally able to act independently, though we'd hope the person votes independently on the council. I saw a hand go up from, this is interesting because I don't see, let me, if I enlarge this, I'm probably gonna see more people. Let me just momentarily, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. And I swear I saw a hand raised from Ms. Bailey. Let me go to participants. I'll probably see more people. Okay. Oh no, I do see Ms. Bailey. She's right in the middle of the screen. I wasn't getting a full view of everybody when I was screen sharing. Yes, Ms. Bailey, or is it Ms. Bailey, or I didn't really hear a voice yet?
Yes, it is. Hi, my name is Nina. I'm Ms. Bailey. I came across the notice about the opportunity for a youth to serve on the council on next over Jefferson Chalmers residence. So just about an hour or so ago, I nominated my son, who's here with me, and I didn't know how. I attended because we're not sure how this all works. He's 13. He's a freshman in high school. He's interested in learning more about government. So we just wanted to first attend and learn more about the council and see how the nominations process works. So,
well, your son is in the enviable position of apparently being the only person available as of this meeting to receive that. Now, and he is, and how, by the way, how long have you been living in the Jefferson Chalmers area?
you know what, actually, let me come on off camera if we're at home so you can see us. We're here now.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Okay. How long
Hi.
have you been in the Jefferson Chalmers area?
We're new. We moved in August from actually Bagley area. We moved to Jefferson Chalmers last August. August 15th was our moving date, 2020.
2020. Now, the only thing well, this is all tentative anyway. So if there's a problem, we may need to, not, but otherwise, I'm going to tentatively, because I have to look at the charter. I know the adult members need to have a year of residency. I don't know if that applies to the youth member. In fact, actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to go off because I really want to make sure I do this right. So with everyone's indulgence, I'm going to, well, you're just going to see me sitting here looking at the screen, at the camera, but I'm really looking at the screen. And I'm going to look up to make sure there is not a 1 year requirement. Oh, before you moved to where you are in Jefferson Chalmers, were you elsewhere in this district? Let me ask that too.
No, we were, I think we were District 2. We lived in the Bagley area near Livernois, Avenue of Fashion, 7 Mile, Northwest.
Okay, let me just, I was going to glance at the charter language.
Ain't nobody else on the phone. No, don't do that. Come on.
In fact, I'm going to go after and look at the ordinance. Politicians kind of prefer the ordinance over the.
Hey, Scotty.
Yes.
I have a question. Would that youth rep have to present to us a written permission from that child's parent or parents as a safeguard?
It's looking like we're getting a verbal permission, but after I look through this and after we go through the process, it will be appropriate to acquire that. Some kind of letter or something to.
Okay, cool.
But what I'm doing right now is just making sure that the person isn't already disqualified by it, because I just got to look up one part here. All right, I'm reading out loud what it says. You know what? It does say, no, this is probably good news. Because I think the year requirement is really affecting people in election. I don't think it's a problem, because in reading this, it says composition of community advisory councils. And it says that there will be 7 members, 5 elected from single non-at-large district, and who shall have been bona fide residents and qualified voters of the district. It doesn't give a time, but I think what came up is elsewhere in election law. It said that for any office, you have to be in for a year. I think that's the part that came up there. But this isn't an elected position, it's appointed. One appointed youth member between the ages of 13 and 17 and who shall be a bona fide resident of the district. It doesn't say how long. 3, one appointed member selected to represent senior issues who shall be a bona fide resident of the district. So there, I don't see, and I'm going to look a little further. And by the way, the part I'm looking at is the city code, which is linked to actually our website. I'm reading a little further. The youth member shall serve 1 year term and be reappointed as long as the person meets the age requirements as determined at the beginning of each term. Reappointment of the youth members shall be for 1 year. So technically a person could be appointed who's about to turn 18, but again, that kind of defeats the point. Youth member must provide, and Gregory is correct, document granting parental guardian consent for participation in the community advisory council at the beginning of each term. So the guardian will be required to provide us with that for it to become official. Actually, if we get that by Wednesday, that would be perfect. The parent guardian of the youth member is responsible for determining appropriateness of participation by the youth member for an agenda item and ensure the parent guardian determine any item of the agenda is inappropriate for consideration by the youth member. Absence from such meeting shall be excused. If current, let's see, is there any more here? I'm just glancing. I don't need to read everything to everybody, just what's relevant. I do not, I'm going to click a little more. I don't think that was more than that.
Scotty,
Yes.
a question.
Yeah,
Would that letter have to be, could it be through fax, email?
I would accept it. Actually, I would accept an email. Did it say signed? Wait, let me go back.
I believe I heard you say signed.
All right, and so it might need to be signed and then scanned. Or I could, I mean, I could live near Jefferson Chalmers. I could come by and get it if you'd like. I don't want to count on the snail mail.
Well, it's no worries. If you needed me to, I can sign and scan it and send it back.
Oh, beautiful then. Okay. And I could give you an email address then to send it to. I'm just looking, it doesn't look like there's any problem with it being under a year. I don't see it. And so for that reason, I'm gonna go ahead and consider, and can you, sir, can you say your full name for the people present?
My name is Ezra Magnum Keelan.
I'm sorry, can you say a little louder?
Ezra Magnum Keelan.
Edward Magnum Bailey.
Okay, please, okay, please spell it and spell your name real slow, please, because I'm taking notes.
No worries. I'll put it in the chat. His full name. Go ahead, honey.
Ezra Magnum Keelan.
Okay, Edward's first name, right? Oh, Edmund?
Ezra. Ezra.
Ezra. I see it now. Okay. Gregory, can you see that in the chat?
I can. Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, I was thinking the same last name, but it's Keelan. Ezra Magnum Keelan. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Good. Okay, I want to speak properly. Gregory, you see that in the chat now?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I see it.
Okay, great. So EZRA MAGNUM KEELEN. Okay, so I will nominate Ezra Magnum Keelan to serve as youth member of Community Advisory Council.
I second
Is
that
there a
motion.
second?
I second it.
Thank you, Gregory. Now we will go to a roll call vote. And I vote in favor of Mr. Keelan being our Community Advisory Council youth member. Gregory.
Same here. I vote for him too.
Okay, well, welcome aboard. Now it's not done yet.
Right.
It's with both the senior and youth issues representative. What we actually will be doing is giving the list of the people we nominated to the council representative. That's Andre Spivey, and he will then go ahead and do the formal appointment. And so then I'll include that letter when I contact him, Ms. Bailey. And that way we'll have a complete thing together. I'm so happy you showed up because I was sitting there going, oh, we still don't have anybody. We can't get anyone to do this. But it's terrific. And I'm glad you got both of you together here. So it's clear that you're, both a team on this. And I look forward to this. So yeah, please. Let me give you the email address.
Thank you. And I
Ready?
just put my my contact email in there as well.
there
So
you
I'll
go.
make
I'll
sure
just-
to email you or however you need it to come.
Yeah, I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it into another document real quick here. Just so I don't lose it when the call ends.
Well, thank you. He's excited. I'm his mom. My name is Shanina Bailey, but I go by Nina. So he's looking forward to taking part.
You go by
If he's
Nina?
finally approved. I go by Nina, yes.
Okay. And yeah, I'll put my email address in here just anyway, because
Thank you.
yeah. You're welcome. And I have been in the past using a different email address, but it turned out the provider of that address has gotten really on my case about having too many files or too many messages saved in my inbox. And at some point I'm like, well, no one else is doing that to me. So I'm trying to shift over. So there's my current one. Can you see it there? Good, you copy
I
it.
do. I have it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to screen sharing now and pull up the agenda. And oops, I'm pushing the wrong buttons. Okay, where was I? And let's go right here. It's going to my browser, so you see the last thing I was looking at was regarding it was the city code regarding community councils. And that's what I was looking through at the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna get this done, and then the next thing I'm gonna move on to is I saw two hands go up. Oh boy, okay, hold on. Let me I can't see who's raising them though. Oh wait, I can do. I think there's a shortcut. Oh, I can do this. I can actually be screen sharing and see the residents. Okay, Cynthia, you had something you wanted to say also?
Yeah, I wanted to let you know, I think the year refers to your residency in the city. Because when I was running for state rep, I didn't have to be in 2 for a year. I had to be in the city for a year, and I had to be in the district by the time of filing. So based on that, I'm assuming that Ezra doesn't have a residency issue.
Okay. And I will say, just for the record, because you brought that issue up, that while state rep is handled differently, but in this case for the youth member, apparently, I don't think there is going to be an issue. I don't believe there will be an issue.
Because of the charter versus the county. Okay. Or
Yeah,
the state
but
records,
there
actually,
is a difference, because I do know a person who's not on the call right now, but she had actually intended to run for community advisory council as a write-in candidate, and showed up and submitted her declaration of intent and was turned away because she had not been living in the district for over a year, and she's been a Detroit resident for many years.
okay.
So that did come up, but I'm thinking that's more with the election rules for the city, not with this particular office, and so therefore I don't
Because it'd
think
be an appointee thing. Okay, yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah. And I will review things in depth, ahead, but for right now, it looks like this is pretty solid. Okay, so let me go back to the agenda, and I was doing that. Let me find it again. There it is. Oh, oh, and Miss Bailey, did you have your hand up? Okay,
No,
thought saw a
actually, I
hand up
hadn't
there, too.
put my hand down from the first time, but no, we're all set.
Okay, terrific. So looking here, we're gotten quite a bit done, but we're not quite done. We don't have any bylaws, and any organization that exists for, for a significant amount of time doing work should have bylaws. It's the controlling document of the organization. What I've effectively been doing is sort of doing ad hoc Roberts rules right now, and which is enough for a first time meeting. The appropriate way really to have bylaws worked out is to have it done by a committee. Often it would be a committee of just people among the membership. But because there's so few of us, I think it would be appropriate, and I kind of get this, and I don't see anything in the ordinance or the charter restricting us this way, so I think it's okay. But I kind of picked this up from the morning that myself and Zelda have both been involved with, which is that often a committee can be formed by those outside of the elected persons. And usually there are at least some of the elected persons involved in it. In this case, actually, the only binding votes, when there are binding votes, will be members, but it doesn't mean other people can't get involved. And it also means a lot of times that the elected members will take into consideration advice of the members of the community. So that being said, I thought it'd be appropriate to at least begin a bylaws committee. And my suggestion here that I put into the agenda was to have 2 elected members and 2 community members. Again, there's no particular rule I'm pulling this from. So, I mean, there is some flexibility here. And I know I have one, well, let me just, let's see how this works out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to stop sharing now, and so I can see everybody. And I'd just like to see a show of hands of who wants to be on the bylaws committee. And remember, it's *9 if you're calling in on a phone and you wish to. And by the way, you would need to be identified at that point if you want to be on the bylaws committee. But no one in those hands. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, I just put it out there. I mean, we could sit and do this among ourselves, but I thought it was something that community members could get involved in if that's what they really want to do. Zelda, are you interested in being on the bylaws committee?
I just was unmuting myself. Sorry about that. Yes, I would be, but I, wasn't gonna say anything because I'm not a member, of the CAC. So is that a requirement?
No, I'm
I
saying
mean,
it isn't.
it could just be anybody that has an interest or would like to be and not be a member of the CAC. Is that the way it can go?
Yes, it is. As long as, keep in mind, still only members of the CAC can vote to ratify bylaws, and they
Okay.
can change them. But as far as the committee putting something together, it's really discretionary, And I feel it'd be appropriate to open it up to interested members of the community, especially since there isn't such a huge crowd of people that would be hard to sort that out.
Right, okay, well, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I would like to be a member of it.
Okay, so Zelda has volunteered to be on the bylaws committee. Anyone else? Okay, well, if you haven't decided, this is not something we have to vote on. So if you decide later, anyone else who's in this meeting, community members, that you'd like to pick up that task, send us a message. I'll read it out loud. The email address I use is Scotty, SCOTTY, education, spelled like education, EDUCATION, at yahoo.com. One word, there's no spaces, no underscores, no dashes or special characters. If you forget that, no problem. Just go to the d4cac.org website, and there you can use the contact form, and I'll still get the information. Like, some of you may have even been reached by contact form, because I did email out to people who had sent various inquiries by contact form before. And we'll go on to that. Also, I'll also put this out here. My phone number, I have a voice, a normal, here, I'll show it to you so you understand my situation. All right, this phone number I'm about to give goes to this device. Okay, it looks funny with the green screening there. This device here. Yeah, it looks tattered and ancient and everything. And so I use that just to talk, not to text. And that phone number is 313-247-2052. And just if you call me that way, there's usually room on the voicemail. Also, I'm going to give another number.
Scotty,
yes.
Scotty, would you please put it in the chat
Okay,
box, please? Thanks.
You're welcome. And that's the one that's voice only. This other one, I will take text messages at that I'm putting in. And actually, I'll put that word after it so it's clear. There. So, there you go. And so anyone else who also wishes to get involved, and as time goes on, and hopefully we'll grow this organization to have a full council, we will have more to do. There are definitely some issues that I've run across when I was walking through the community with my clipboard. I mean, a huge one is the cost of getting water, the water bills. Another one, I saw a lot of homeowners had signs up about "Make Me Whole," that they were got burned by an overassessment on their taxes. So that's another one that came up, and of course there's more. There's obviously public safety is a ubiquitous issue in our district. That all the time we need to be concerned about public safety. So there are a number of concerns people have brought up already to me, and I haven't forgotten about those. Just as a procedural matter, the issues we put on the agenda today I had to get to. So we may have committees dealing with any of those. There's the issue of new construction happening and not really having prior knowledge of there's a plant, or there's a park being built. The park, I guess, is popular. But there's, oh, I know, there's the issue of people living over by the Fiat Chrysler plant who were promised certain things and haven't really seen those promises fulfilled. So I heard a lot about that as well. So at this point, looking at the agenda, we have the next thing on here. Arrangement to fit emergency meeting contingency with Open Meetings Act. And beforehand, had an awkward thing regarding that, because if someone calls a meeting, the Open Meetings Act says they need to have it posted publicly 18 hours ahead. That may or may not be realistic, but since we have myself and Gregory in Washington have resolved on having a Wednesday meeting, I believe that then removes that as a problem. Do you concur, Community Advisory Council member Creswell?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so there's an agreement on that. It doesn't really require, well, no, we should vote on the next meeting date. That is appropriate. So I'm going to move that we schedule another meeting, primarily to confirm the matters that we already voted on at this meeting, to be on Wednesday, and that will be Wednesday. I'm going to get my calendar out. Wednesday, January 27th at 7 p.m. I will post it on the d4cac.org website in a manner similar to the last meeting, and we'll also inform the city of Detroit, who has actually posted our meeting. I was amazed, on the Detroit.mi.gov website. And I will post it in other social media locations that are looked at by District 4 residents, like nextdoor.com and the District 4 group on Facebook. So the short motion is to have the meeting at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 27th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I vote in favor of it. Gregory, do you vote in favor of it? Or I'm sorry, what is your vote?
Yeah, yay.
Yay, he votes in favor. Oh, I know he could do all in favor, yay, all against, nay, right? But actually, it's a roll call vote anyway, so, right. Okay, well, that's fabulous. Now, this is always my favorite part of any public meeting, because usually it's the only time I get to talk. Oral communication from the audience. I have in here 2 to 3 minutes based on the number seeking to be recognized. I don't even know why I necessarily need to even limit it to 3. So I'm going to be
Scotty,
fairly open about this. Yes, Gregory?
Yes. In trying to take notes, you mentioned 4 major issues that you
Oh,
came in
yes.
contact
Yeah,
with.
issues I had heard about.
Water bills,
we may hear
property
about
taxes.
more tonight.
Okay, property taxes, safety, jobs, and projects, or jobs from projects?
Well, jobs are always important, but when there's new, you see, we're supposed to be informed. You don't have to write all this down, but I'm just saying, the reason I brought it up is that we need to be informed when something new is happening in our district. And there have been some projects involving parks, and also regarding, and this is actually before we existed, but there's the issue of the people being promised certain things around the Fiat Chrysler plant, and those are issues that are relevant to us. So that's what I was saying. So I'd say Fiat Chrysler promises, over taxation on property came up, water rates or water prices. Some people say they're getting over assessed how much they use. Water cost, let's call it water cost, is a big issue that I've heard about. I'm trying to think, was there another one I had mentioned already? that I didn't say repeat just now.
You said safety.
Yeah, and public safety. Um, is when I heard a lot of people
About the
speak
Connor
about.
stamping plant?
Pardon, Donna?
I thought you had mentioned something about the construction of the new plant on Connors. Did you mention that?
Yeah, and there is a park being put up on Connor that was done now. The property itself actually is in the 5th district, but at a city council meeting, I had noted that they hadn't conferred with people affected, or I wanted to know, I actually was inquiring, I recall, as to whether they were even talking to the people in the neighborhood, not necessarily the CAC, to talking to people in the neighborhood across Connor from there.
Mhm.
And my impression was that they hadn't been, and that just didn't seem right, because it seems like you should include people. And the businesses immediately across from there, I would say talk to them too. It looks like a lot of it was like light industrial, but it's still, I mean, they're stakeholders in the whole thing. And what it is there was this property, I guess it used to be a plant that had closed,
Mhm.
and there a lot of the land was already looked like a park anyway. But isn't that what they were going to build there? Was it going to be making it into parks?
Well, is it? Was this the property that starts with the Cadillac stamping plant and then runs further up towards Gratiot? Is this the property that starts right there on Harper at Connors?
Right. There's like kind of a triangle of land where there's currently no one residing or doing business. And there
Mhm.
is a ruin, or I don't know if maybe ruin might be too harsh because maybe it's structurally sound. There is a building kind of in the middle of it, an unused kind of.
Yeah, I think that was an old Cadillac stamping plant or something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not part of the 4th district, so technically they could say that, but it just seemed it would have been appropriate to speak with the residents who lived across the street from there to get their input. And I didn't get the impression that happened.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it just seemed like there should have been some communication there.
Yes.
It didn't necessarily seem like to me like it's a problem, but then again, I don't live across from it, so maybe it's just a matter of people being properly informed and included. So when the city council is voting on what to do with something, that the people who are going to be most affected have something to say about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was really what my concern was. And I think maybe we had. Did you email me about that at one point?
No, I may have emailed you about the Fiat Chrysler
Okay.
situation and some other things, but yeah.
So we can actually take turns and each speak out, and I'll call them. Then each person can kind of give an overall. If there's a general statement, you just want to address the whole group here, and we can just sit and listen. Also, Zelda, did you have a communication you'd like to share with us? I don't hear you. You help unmuting? There you
Yeah,
are.
I'm sorry about that. I, forgot to do that. I was talking and forgot to do it. But I'm glad you brought that issue up about the 600 million, the property tax, because that's a really, really big and hot issue that has been, I guess, kind of overshadowed with the election and all that. Everybody trying to rally to get the right candidates elected, and it's nothing has been really said about it lately. But it's an issue that affects so many people, and it's really a very hot issue. And I don't know, quite frankly, when people bring it up, what do you say? Because we don't know, where it's going or if it's even ever coming up again. So, I mean, there you have it.
Well, I'm speaking for myself. I totally concur. um, there, this is why we have a community advisory council for people that haven't been listened to have really amplify their voice, and that's what us elected members are going to be trying to bring to the council. So definitely will be re-echoing that sentiment, when we get on the city council meetings. And I haven't, and the funny thing is, I haven't heard anybody that somehow thinks it was a good thing that people were overassessed and billed on their property tax. I haven't heard anyone say that that was a good thing. But then when it comes to, okay, well, it was wrong, so we right the wrong by, I mean, it's money, it's numbers for the people who didn't lose their house anyway. That's something that can quantitatively be returned, and one doesn't necessarily have to pull it write a check. There are other ways of doing that. One can make it a credit on future taxes until that's covered. People lost their homes, that's a bigger problem, and it's a little more complicated. But it's clearly, it's absurd that people will say they're wrong, but then not concede that they need to do something substantial of equal value to what was done in return. And I haven't heard that yet. I've heard different little goodies tossed out there, but it's not quantitatively correct. It's not balancing things really. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm editorializing and I shouldn't be using my time so much. Ms. Bailey, did you want to say something more?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Did Ezra want to say any more?
No.
Okay. Cynthia?
No, I'm good. I was actually trying to think of some stuff for Ezra, given his interest, but so beyond that, no. But thank you.
Okay. Donna?
No, I'm good too. Thank you.
Okay.
Just kind of absorbing, taking in some information. I'll probably have things to say at a later date.
Sure. Yeah, doesn't have to be at the meeting. Loretta? Okay, and got a person muted who's been listening patiently. The number ending in 8660, would you like to make a comment? Okay, you don't have to, I'm just asking.
Can you hear
Person with the
me?
number, yes, Loretta, yes.
Oh, okay. I had to unmute myself. Sorry about that.
Okay,
I did want to make a comment regarding what you and Zelda said about how could we heal from that. Well, with proposal in passing, I don't see much healing that's going to be done. Where's this money going to come from if we allow the mayor to tear down houses? Then some monies is going to have to come back to the community with higher taxes. It's got to be that way. Where are we getting the money from if we allow more money to be? Where's that money coming from? That's my, statement on that proposal in. That passed. The $600 million giveaway. Because, he was paid from the all the houses that were damaged. That money went into the demolition fund and he used it for other things. And now he's asked that we give more money with, proposal in. I don't see an end to that tax situation. Not at all.
by the way, you were asked the initial question, where is it coming from? The short answer is you.
Yeah, I know. I know. Higher taxes.
Well, they have this advertising that was really deceptive. I'm sorry, I'm editorializing again, but it sounds like I'm not I'll probably be quieter when I'm disagreeing and not taking up so much time. But since I think we're on the same page here, the thing that happened there was they actually were advertising the thing saying, "Oh, this will not raise your taxes."
Yeah,
And it's
right.
a bond issuance. It's sort of like saying that charging things to your credit card won't increase your bills.
Right.
It will eventually do that. I mean, unless somehow they got some great benefactor who's just going to dump a bunch of money on them so no one has to get their taxes raised. So, yeah, it was deceptive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're
And-
going to have more homes being lost.
Yeah,
Definitely so.
it's very sad. This I live in on a block where more than half the structures that were here are not here anymore. Around the block from me, I actually own side lots that were touching my property for a block behind me that is 100% unoccupied. So, and those represent, people who lost their homes.
Yeah, it's bad. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's scary. It really is. I just see so many problems. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. The people on the phone lines, I want to make sure I'm going to unmute each of you in case you just were not able. Oh, I can't force it to be unmuted. I could ask you to unmute. If you want to speak, you need to push *6 if you're on a phone call because you're both muted right now, and *6 will unmute you. If you don't want to speak, then you don't need to do anything further. But I just want to make sure I'm not neglecting people. Okay.
Hey,
Loretta,
Scotty, it's
your
Cynthia.
hand, or no, Cynthia's hand went up. Yes.
Yeah, I just remembered something. I don't know if anybody else has had this problem. It kind of died down, probably with COVID. But be aware. I ran into a scam last year this time, where we're not supposed to put our leaves out to the curb type of thing, and I didn't. I had them on the side of my house. I had probably 40 bags of leaves. So where are they going except on the side of the house? They were lined up all nice and everything. And I get this blight ticket.
Really?
Well, and I got the ticket back, like, I want to say it was like November, and it said something like you got to have your leaves out to the curb or away from the side of your house within 3 days. Well, they were out in 3 days because, of course, I raked them, and then the next day they went out to the street. So they had been raked, put out to the street, and then like in December or January, I get a ticket as if I had never taken them out to the curb. Now, fortunately, because I thought the blight ticket was BS, I took pictures. And I must say, they looked beautiful. All 40 bags lined up very nicely. I had them at the side, and I took another picture of them at the curb. And of course, the pictures were dated. And I also have I had a bunch of ornamental grass type of stuff. And so they wrote me up for like not cutting the grass. It's like, that is not stuff you're supposed to cut. But be all that as I get down there. And bottom line is they weren't expecting me to show up. Because as soon as I showed up with my copies of my pictures for the judge and for his blankety blank, Ezra, I'm not going to cuss because you're on the phone. So as soon as I stood up, case was dismissed. So just as a FYI, it's something that the council might want to take up because that was a straight up scam. And when I got down there, it was like me and my closest friends, and not everybody was being scammed, but I was absolutely being scammed. So I had to take off work, pay for parking, hang out, all for you to say, essentially, you can see the look on his face. He was not expecting me to show up. So if you guys are hearing the stuff like that, all that kind of, and I looked it up. There's actually nothing that says that we cannot put our leaves and stuff on the side of the yard. In fact, they are exempted. Yard waste is exempted. because the way he wrote the ticket, it said something like waste, waste material, which is what, so yeah, garbage bags. Yeah, I guess that's technically waste. And then it was like solid waste, which is very different
Wow.
than yard waste. And the law recognizes that it's different, which is why it is exempted, as was my ornamental grass. So just as an FYI, that hopefully nobody else,
Wow.
you can tell now
Please
a year
excuse me,
later and I'm
Cynthia.
still mad.
Excuse me,
But yeah,
excuse me,
Gregory had something
Cynthia.
to say about that. Yes.
How? What was the price of the ticket?
you know what? It's been a year. I don't remember.
I
Okay,
know
all
I
right.
got one
But
and
it,
it was
but,
250.
and it was actually 2 tickets, one for the yard waste or one for the solid waste on the side of the house, and the other for the tall grass, which was not grass. But that being
Okay,
said, it was 2 tickets. So it probably was going to be, by the time it was all said and done, probably a couple $100 between the tickets and me taking time off work and parking and all that.
okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I have to believe, I mean, I can look it up. I'm sure I still have it, but just to be aware, I mean, of the many scams that are going on to, get people out of their houses or,
I was just gonna say, I've heard of frequently when people are given blight tickets, it's specifically not because there's something that looks bad, but because the property looks good. That somebody is interested in it and is trying to make it hard for that person to hold on to his or her house.
yeah, I've
I've
gotten
heard
that
that
impression.
story before.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Um,
sure that's true. I travel a lot with my job, so I'm never there.
and
And
the thing is, it works because it's that old saying of if you don't know your rights, you don't have them. And I know
Right.
from seeing you around that you're somebody who's active in the community and no one's going to pull this stuff on you. And like someone also like myself, I'm active in the community and I pay attention to all these rules and so on. So I was able to deal with the blight ticket I got. I actually made a complaint about illegal dumping on one of my side lots. And that week after that complaint, I get the blight ticket. Well, they probably only knew about the garbage on my side lot because I complained. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah, that's
but
the
that,
game.
but
That is the game.
but because of my involvement, it went away. But
yeah,
other people who don't know about all this stuff,
yeah.
it's
That's why I
very
wanted to
sad.
bring it up because, I'm sure because not even so much my involvement, but because at least I knew enough to know look it up because it
Hmm.
didn't make any sense to me that yard waste would be considered solid waste, and because I do have some legal training, I knew where to look and define the definitions. Well, how are they defining solid waste? Which it was like pulling a thread. As soon as you pulled one, it pulled you to the next, which was how I found the exemptions. But that's why I wanted to put it out here because maybe it didn't happen to you, but you may hear, because when it first happened, I was asking everybody, has anybody's heard anything? Be aware that this is a scam they're pulling. Because you can nickel and dime somebody into all kind of jeopardy, let's just say.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
definitely a big one is the how they decide who gets a blight ticket and um you know a lot of
Yeah, like you
times.
said, it's a nice house, and I'm sure that was part of what was going on. It's like, well, but in any case, yeah, they shouldn't be, that kind of crap shouldn't be going on. But that's a
Yeah.
long list of things that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I one of the weirder ones I heard about was actually there are a couple of them I had heard, and it was kind of down in the Jefferson Chalmers area. Was someone was saying that someone was going through the alley of the property, and I guess they were developers, and they were actually complaining about the height of the grass in the alley instead of in the front, where no one would think about cutting it in the back. And using that to say, well, it violates the height of the grass rule, which there is one. But it normally you think, well, it says except for behind fences and things. Well, behind people usually wouldn't think would include that, but people were actually trying to do that. An even stranger one is someone had a video of someone releasing a coyote down the street from a cage.
Oh
And
wow.
and the person's belief, there's just all that the person saw was a coyote being released from a cage. But the person's belief was that somebody was trying to like devalue the neighborhood in some way, as part of some kind of scam. So I don't know, but I'm just saying
That's not
that
necessarily
I
what
heard-
happens. We do, excuse me, we do have,
Pardon, Loretta?
yes, we do have coyotes, and we have wolves that have been dropped off at the border. I always say dropped off at the border by PETA. PETA, in my personal opinion, the love of animals, when they feel that they're in a risky place, they drop them off, and have been practicing that for quite a while in the Detroit city borderline. That's what they do. And
They're
'cause
releasing
I
it
know
in the
I've
city
seen
limits.
wolves. Yeah, I've seen wolves running with a pack of dogs in my neighborhood. I've
I know
seen,
they get here
coyotes. That's nothing.
naturally, but they shouldn't be released here.
Well, they are. They've been doing that forever.
Oh
PETA.
my. They need to they're supposed to be released in a wilderness area, not in an urban area, which we clearly are in. And again, because there are certain pathways like along the railroad and whatnot, occasionally wildlife that you wouldn't expect in the city makes it here. I remember somebody who had a couple deer in their backyard in Morningside.
Yeah, we've had them
Wild
in the
deer.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had deer here in the park.
Which
as a
isn't
matter
really
of
as
fact,
big a
lion,
problem.
wasn't a lion, a mountain lion was here remember when that mountain lion was over in the park?
A mountain lion?
Yeah, it was a mountain lion. That
have been somebody's pet.
yeah, right.
Mountain lion.
That it was a mountain lion that was reduced, that was brought over here and dropped off in the park. I remember that. People saw that. So the police and from the city here and those people who zoo people that round up animals, they were all over in the park trying to find it. So I mean, we've had histories of looking at crazy stuff like that. It really has been. Because we're over here. I'm over here by Chandler Park.
Talking about?
Chandler
Which park
Park.
is it? Chandler Park?
Chandler Park. Yes. Certainly has been. And they took a picture
That's
of
not
it.
even all. I mean, it's kind of big, but it's not so big that there would be
It's
some
not
place
big at
to
all.
disappear
Chandler
into.
Park is small.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a
Considerate.
picnic area. It's like you're letting a wild predator loose in a picnic area. It's like, it's crazy. You might as well have Yogi the Bear get out there, you know?
It's really crazy, but yeah, we've been exposed to a lot of stuff, weird stuff with animals. You know,
Yeah,
not
it
as
makes no
often as
sense.
it used to be. Huh?
Yeah, it makes no sense. I suppose it would cut down on the goose population over there, but I mean, the geese, other than
Well, we
making
just
kind of a
started to
mess
get
of
that
food,
lately.
nah.
That's new. The goose population is new.
Yeah,
It's something that hasn't been around a
but they're
long
actually
time. It's
they
new.
built a wetland for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what brought them here, because they just put that out. This is new. You know. But yeah, I've seen a lot. And people are
Well,
brave
definitely
enough to
not
take
safe.
pictures.
It's not safe
No,
to release predators into the.
especially the wolves that was running down my street. It was a wolf and a pack of dogs
Oh God.
running down the street. And I was like,
Well,
what?
Oh well, you know what's going to happen if that continues.
Well,
You know, they are actually capable. I mean, they're technically the same species. They can actually reproduce. So then you end up with a bunch of hybrids, which are like crazy dogs.
well, most certainly you can look at certain people who have those dogs. That I've seen dogs that are mixed with wolves. I certainly have.
Wow.
You know, people like to have aggressive dogs. I am not for that.
Oh no.
Mm-mm. Don't want that. Not at all. But yeah.
It may be a live topic for us because, well, I mean, you know, we all see them, the dogs roaming the neighborhoods and the neighbors with the too short fences for the too tall dogs. So
True.
I
You
think
know,
the specific topic of people deliberately releasing predatory animals like that in the city, that really is something that could probably capture some news attention. You know, contact me with anybody who would actually be willing to go in front of a camera and talk about this, because I'm thinking this is something that where, you know, what creates pressure a lot of times is external media. And this is definitely something that has a bit of a, you know, titillation factor for the viewers that I think the news reporters would kind of lock into, because people are like going, what, wild animals being let loose in the city? I mean, that right there is like
always
raises
have.
eyebrows.
I
Like,
mean,
what?
I mean, for years, we've seen, especially over here in the park, you know, even before the park had its redesign. Most certainly that's when it was. And then you have over here what I call the projects, where at one time they were full of people with small kids. And the park sits right next to that area of living. Not to
I
mention
mean, like the
the
park
neighborhood
between East
itself.
Warren and Chandler Park.
That's right.
Those,
Absolutely.
yeah, I've been through there. Yeah.
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 And it looks nice now. Before, no, it really had its day of a lot of unnecessary events, but it's a lot better now, you know. But I don't see as many of wild animals. That's what I call them, as I used to see, you know. But most certainly, I'm not shocked. I remember somebody took a picture of it and was sending it out. I had a picture of it, of the animal. It came to my email or text. I can't remember which one, but I sure saw it. It was a mountain lion right over here in Chandler Park.
Wow.
And I remember when we used to have those big birds with the big wings. We were scared of those birds because they would, you know, fly down into the street, and you had small children. These birds would take your kids away. So clearly nobody wanted to be outside with, let their kids outside anymore.
Did they? I was just interested in the description. Did the birds have? Did they have kind of like weird, ugly heads, like vultures, or were they like blackbirds?
Had
or
it, I swear to God, that I was sitting on my front porch, and
what did they look like?
everybody knew to be careful, because we know they were flying over the houses and making the scoop noise that they make. And the rats and cats came up missing a lot. They would scoop down right in front of your eyes and take your cat, your dog. But this particular
buzzards.
day,
Someone put in her turkey buzzards. So in other words, they looked like vultures.
Yeah, the big wingspread, it was huge. When he landed and opened up his wings, he was huge.
Well, sure.
It was
but they had kind of like pink heads or something.
I don't specifically remember. All I remember is the wingspan was unbelievable. It was two grown men that was walking down the street when the bird just came down at the alley and opened up his wings, and the men sound like women screaming, running.
Because like osprey and eagles have big wings too, but they usually, kind of, they're more solitary.
This was the biggest thing ever. And they used to take people's pets, and the little boy that used to play with my grandson left his, what do you call those little rat pets? They look like rats. And he had...
you might be thinking of possums.
Yeah, hamsters. Yeah, the hamsters. He had came down to my house to show my son his two hamsters that he got. He was walking down the street, put his hamsters out on the front porch, and guess what? That thing swooped down and took his hamsters. Both of them. And he was petrified.
That sounded like could have been like an osprey hawk.
I mean, I've seen some stuff on my block. in my neighborhood. For real. I know Peter is responsible for bringing those. How else could we get fox, wolves, a mountain lion, unless he escaped from Belle Isle?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
And even Belle Isle, I don't think they have those animals there anymore.
No,
Yeah,
not.
I don't.
I mean,
That's something to
talking
check
about,
in.
in the past. I'm talking about in the past. No. Those animals did not come from Belle Isle. Those animals were released in the urban areas on purpose.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we got to have some reporting system to make sure when, because the key is once the animal's there, you just got the animal. We need to know who the humans are that are releasing the animals. That's really where the enforcement part comes in. The rest of it is kind of animal control. But who's letting them loose to begin with? That's what we, really need to take an extra look at.
Well, that's why I used to tell my grandsons they could never be in the neighborhood by themselves. Never. Walk in groups, And, well, they're all grown now, but if they were here, they could tell you too. Because they've seen a lot of it, the same thing that I've seen. And so not as often that we see those things anymore. So when somebody says that they've seen a coyote, that's not new. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Been around for a while.
Okay.
Well, that's where
And I
pictures
just
help.
blamed it on Peter, the love of animals, protecting the animals. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just see if, because kind of I noticed the clock, and I think I had said maybe I don't know, maybe I didn't post an end time. But I was thinking 8:30 might be a good time to. It's past 8:30 already.
Oh.
Is there anyone who wants to say anything before we adjourn? Any last statements? Okay, well, I'm gonna be posting the meeting information for Wednesday, and hopefully there'll be more members by then. And again, you're welcome to follow up with me on your own after the meeting, or any other member, or Gregory. So
Excuse me, Scotty, I will shoot you the minutes via the email sometime either tomorrow, definitely before Sunday's football games.
okay, I'm sorry. What did you want to do tomorrow?
I said I'm going to shoot you the minutes
Oh,
via the email either tomorrow or definitely before Sunday's football games.
thank you, Gregory.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for attending. It's good to hear. We got people concerned about making a difference in the community, obviously, and hopefully, we can get a group together that will be able to actually get the change wanted. That I know each of you have been trying, to get certain issues addressed that have not been addressed. And ultimately, our role is community advisory council to the city council, that, we could put a little more fire under their feet, or however you want to put it, to really move forward in a direction that we find to be constructive, and is responsive to what the people who actually live in this district are concerned about. Because sometimes you got to wonder, when there's certain projects popping up, well, did they ever talk to us about it? Okay, well, I'm going to be then adjourning. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, second. I vote in favor of adjournment. Gregory?
Yay.
Okay, so we both vote in favor of adjournment. And oh, Zelda, did you well, how about I'll post when you have a bylaws meeting if you want to have some time to think about it. We're actually adjourned, but I'm just
Sorry
saying
about that.
Oh,
I had to unmute myself. You know, that'll be fine.
okay. So I'll post when there's a bylaws meeting, and I'll consult with Zelda, and if other people want to get into that project, please